Good afternoon, folks, and today I wanted to discuss something slightly different. I wanted to talk about audits. Now, if anybody has seen them, there is a subsection of YouTube where people will go around like this and they will audit a building, often using a drone, filming the premises from above, around the back, maybe even some restricted areas or locked behind gates, etc. There is a ton of stuff on YouTube. All you need to do is head to YouTube and look up some drone audit footage, and there's just going to be tons of different types of people auditing. You'll notice the common theme about these audits are an angry person in the thumbnail. Typically, what gets these videos engagement is the fact that the person does have a lawful right to film. The person that owns the business does not indeed like the fact their business or that maybe themselves has been filmed and posted to YouTube, and they'll have a bit of a go back and there'll be a discussion about the law, were they right or wrong. But you can see there's tons of footage. I've seen a lot of these pieces of footage, just like this one, and I'm using this, by the way, as fair use to comment over to give you an idea of what we're talking about. Now, the one in particular that's grown in popularity is a person called DJ Audits. DJ Audits typically will wear something like this. Now, in his own words, he won't have his face covered. The reason he has his face covered in this particular shot is because he's filming with somebody else. Now, he doesn't like to show his own face in the videos. Therefore, when he's filming with somebody else that's swinging the camera around, he will typically wear maybe a covering so that his friend doesn't have to blur his face out for the entire video. Now, some of the interactions, a lot of the interactions are fine. They will go to a ground such as this. They will say, hi, they won't even say hi. What will end up happening is the kind of theme of the video will be they'll roll up, they'll stand on a public footpath, they'll send the drone up, or they'll start filming a business. This, obviously, if you see a bunch of people in black sort of hidden security kind of gear with the balaclava, etc. on, you're going to be a bit suspicious if you're a business owner. So often people will come out, such as this gentleman, and say, hey, what you doing? Because it's their job to do a bit of security to manage the building. You know, they're not on hundreds of thousands of pounds. They're just doing their 9 to 5 grind, and they see a couple of strange looking blokes outside a building. Now, normally it'll be, what are you doing, mate? To which the auditor will usually respond, I'm on public property, I have the right, you don't own the airspace. As long as if I'm stood on public property and I launch my drone from public property, I can film what I want. And they're not doing anything wrong there. They're not breaking the law. They're doing everything legal. However, there are certain instances like this one which did make me feel a bit uncomfortable, and I honestly feel like some of these auditing YouTubers are going way too far. Now, this bloke you'll hear in the back and forth is very clearly telling the user, hey, come on now, it's time to go. I've asked you politely to go, and at that point, you're meant to go. The way I understand the law is if you launch from a public footpath, you're free to do pretty much whatever you want. But if you enter onto their property and then they tell you to leave, you have to leave, otherwise you're trespassing. So at the moment, they're on this bloke's property, and you'll hear him having a discussion, and he'll begin to say, listen, it's time to go.
You nicely, politely,
Right,
please leave.
that's right. I am going to go, but I'm telling you, I will carry on videoing.
Do what you wish, but leave the site.
Thank you.
So I think a lot of these people are very, very fair. They're saying, listen, I understand that I don't like myself being filmed and I don't like my premises being filmed. However, I can't stop you legally. So if you could just leave the premises and get on with it and get out of my hair. But the theme of the video is to be as vague as possible, it seems, to antagonize and bring out a reaction of the person. And it kind of rubs me up the wrong way, to be completely honest, because you're just going out of your way to irritate somebody's day for the sake of views and antagonize them, and in this case actually become violent, which is where I really do think he crossed the line. And to be honest, I've kind of stopped watching them because I just dislike the whole approach now that I've seen a few of them, and it really does rub me up the wrong way, and I want to know what you think. So this bloke's been very, very nice. He's asked him to shift off his land, and instead of just doing so, he's having this back and forth over and over again. I'll let the clip play.
Very
Come
nice of you.
inside. I do not expect you to come past these gates here. You are trespassing otherwise.
Right,
So
okay.
health and safety, no high vis, no safety footwear, you're a danger.
So what he's saying is you're on currently this road here. There are lorries coming in and out. You're on our private property. You're a danger. You need to leave. But there's this back and forth and this big argument that happens. And typically this is what goes on. Now, I want to point out that most of the time, what they're doing is entirely lawful. But what they do is they drip feed the information to make the owner of the property or the security guard or whoever it is that's sat in their booth on minimum wage or whatever they're doing, just to annoy them. So rather than saying, listen, here's documentation of my drone, this is my name, and this is the company I work for, I'm going to be flying a drone over, which is legal. Here is the law. And I know you might not like it, but there's not much you can do about it. I'm auditing the business. You know, and basically an audit is a performance review of like a current building to check it meets standards or user standards and then inform them if there needs to be anything improved. These people aren't really doing that. They're basically just going to wind up the person for a reaction and then saying, oh no, I want to film this building. That's basically what's happening. Now, there's this back and forth, and typically they'll just be winding everybody up. People come out, there's this back and forth, there's this normally a standoff situation. And at this point, I just feel like DJ Audits, which is the particular one here, went far too far into this scenario. So there's the security guards coming out, there's extra people coming out. You'll notice in these videos, more and more people have to come out because they're very vague in their answers. So when asked, hey, what are you doing here today? They'll say, oh, I just want to survey your land. I just want to see what stock you've got. Now, if you see two guys in Robin-style gear talking about, I'm going to film where your merchandise is, that's going to put your back up. They'll then be like, oh, don't get your back up, mate. It's totally legal. What ends up happening here is I don't like this. The bloke comes forward and says, okay, I am now going to come on public property and film you. So he's doing a bit of tit for tat, shall we say. So he goes on and he says, listen, it's absolutely fine to film. Just like you are, I'm also going to film. And he approaches the guy, and the defense here is, oh, the guy was going to grab DJ Audit's mask. That was the point of the video. Oh no, even though we're both on public land and we're both allowed to film each other, you can't grab my face mask. If you actually watch the video here, you will see that his arms are still directly up. All he's doing is holding the camera in the bloke's face. And what he's basically saying is, you'll come and stick in a camera in my face, I'll go on public property and stick it in your face. And he shoves the bloke there, and he almost falls over. And he's shocked. He's an elderly bloke. I'm not going to say he's 80 or something, but he's an elderly bloke. He's not 20, and you can see him hold his chest. He's shook. He's just been assaulted in my eyes. Now you can say, oh well, he was getting in his personal space, but this is the kind of video that the auditors seem to want to produce. Now this bloke here is stood on a curb, and he's stood on a busy road. He could have cockled into the road and been hit by a lorry. He could have fallen over, banged his head, and died. People get killed in a singular punch, a singular bang to the head. These things happen, and obviously now he's really spragged up, and he's saying, whoa.
I'm warning you, get back, get back!
Ooh.
Do not come into my personal space. Stay back, stay back.
Stand your ground, mate. Stand.
And it just becomes this standoff. Now, this is a particularly bad example, but if you saw somebody dressed like that with a camera, it's not exactly the most friendly approach to auditing. And these videos, I feel, have gone way, way beyond maybe what the original scope was. I believe the original scope of the video was probably to be like, this person doesn't understand the drone laws, is going to be a bit arsey, and it will be funny to see them not know the law, or something along those lines. But what it's now become is it's becoming a bit of a danger. They're irritating the public, they're irritating people in businesses, and this bloke could have been going to work, he could have very easily been killed. It's not out of the realms of possibility that on a busy workman road, when you get shoved and cockle over on a curb, you can bang your head, you can end up in hospital, you can fall into the road and get run over or something. And it's all because these auditors are pushing and pushing and pushing. They're trying to get the reaction, and I just genuinely dislike it. For example, this security guard is so kind and lovely. He comes out and he says, hey, listen, buddies, just back off, there's really no need for it. They then start saying, do you know the law about your badge? You're not showing your badge. Are you even a real person? You need to get out. And I just dislike this level of confrontation. And I'm not a fan of the direction of the videos that they're all going. I think they're just provoking a reaction out of the public that are just trying to get along with their day. And yeah, I just wanted to post this up. Let me know what you think. Have the auditors gone too far? I understand that you can film and you can launch it from a public ground, but they're intentionally withholding information to get a rise out of people. And I feel sorry for this bloke and this bloke, because they're just trying to go along the day, and they're having these two dudes with cameras shoved in the face, and it's all been confrontational. And yes, there are some videos of these auditors where they do everything properly, and I understand that it is the law and they are allowed to film, but what you can do is have a little bit of common decency, and I think that's just something missing from the world these days. There's not much common decency going on. It's all about who can get the views, the clicks, and he's just trying to say, just get off my land, man. Just get off my land. And unfortunately, it ends up in a confrontation. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.